Hi, welcome everyone.
Hello.
It is your
Hey.
long-awaited Poppy War discussion. So,
Oh my
if you've been
God.
following along, we had a Poppy War read-along in which we have been reading the Poppy War throughout the next, January, February, March, the trilogy. So we just finished the Poppy War. This is the discussion. We are going to have a non-spoiler chat, and then we will notify everyone when we move to the spoiler chat. But before we do that, would everyone like to introduce themselves?
Yeah. Okay. So I will start. So hello everyone. I'm Jane from the Bookaholic. I'm really excited for today because I'm really interested to see what everyone has thought about it. And yes, let's continue the introduction. Cool.
I can go
Charlotte, you
next.
want to go next?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Charlotte from Clumsy Charlotte, and I'm also super excited about today. For me, this is a reread, just so you know. I've read the entire series already, but spoiler, but it's one of my favorite series. So I'm super excited to reread it with a different look because I know certain things. And I just finished the book like 10 minutes ago because I'm bad at planning. So I'm happy I could finish it on time. And yeah, super excited to discuss it and talk with all of you about it.
Hi, so I'm Lorena from Sunshine Lorena. This is the first time I read The Poppy War, and I am really excited to discuss it. I've been waiting weeks for this moment, so yeah, I'm really excited for us to get into it and speak about it.
And then I'm Megan. You probably know me if you're on this channel, but this is my first time. Oh gosh, wow. Right in the face.
Wow.
I do that
Careful.
so many. You should see my bloopers of me doing videos for BookTube. It's constantly just smacked in the face. But yeah, this is my
Wow.
first time with the Poppy War as well. So yeah. And then I see we have Bailey. Welcome in. Hello.
Hello.
Thanks for being here. Hugo.
Hello.
Hello.
All right. So, I think we should just start discussing our general thoughts. Do you want to go in the same order? Well, Jane. I'm interested to hear what Jane thinks.
I think that I might go last about this one. Let's hear your thoughts first.
Megan, you can
Yeah.
start.
Yay. So we'll go in opposite order. I'll start, and then Lorena, and then Charlotte. Okay. All right. So you probably saw my tweets as I was reading this. First few pages in, I was like, this is a 5-star read for me. I going through it, I just kept saying this is the best book of 2021, 2022, 2020. Last year was not the best reading year for me. I found a lot of I liked the book, but it's not an all-time favorite. So this kind of surpassed those. However, I'm going to say it still didn't break my top 5, but it was very close. I think the one thing that held it back was the pacing. I felt like it moved very fast, and I would have loved to explore the academy more. Other than that, 5 stars. So
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's so
Happy to
amazing
hear
that you
that.
enjoyed it so much. Yes, not top 5, but at least you loved it.
Still amazing. And a great setup for the rest of the series as well.
Jane, I think you're gonna have some backup here.
That's
I didn't say that I gave it 2 stars,
I'm just
but
curious. I'm picking up on the vibes here. I don't know.
I'm so nervous. I can't handle this. This was a bad idea.
Hugo, we are doing non-spoiler chat, and then we're gonna move to spoilers if
Yeah.
you want to hang around and just hear general thoughts. I don't know if you're still here, but
Just thinking.
Belgian book nerd, loved it.
It's amazing.
Lorena, what were your thoughts first time reading it?
I absolutely love this. I give it 5 stars. I really liked it. I do agree with Megan that I think the academy, that first section went really fast. And yeah, it would have been nice maybe to have a little bit more about what was going on in that section, but still absolutely loved it. It was my first 5-star of the year. Like last year, I only had 6 5-stars, and one was a reread. So I was really glad that this is the first one of 2022, and hopefully that means I'm gonna have more this year than last year. But yeah, no, I really, really, really like this one, and I can't wait to then continue the series as well.
Oh wow!
We are manifesting
That's
5-star
amazing.
reads for Lorena this year. I did have a 5-star before that. I had a couple 5-stars before this. It's been a good reading year so far. So
Oh, that's
Amazing.
amazing. Yes. Also, like 2021 for me was so bad. I had something like 4 or 5 stars on 4 books, which is crazy. So I really get why you really want to have 5 stars, because like also for me, the last year wasn't the best. So hopefully 2022 will be amazing for all of us.
Jane, you'll like the 5-star I just read. It was 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo.
Yes, I loved it. I didn't give it 5 stars. I gave it 4.5 because of a few reasons, but it's an amazing read.
I remember it being on your like BookTube Awards video.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I loved it.
Cool. Should I go next then, or?
Yes. We already know your thoughts, but
Well, I was a bit nervous going back into it just because I read it. I think I read it in 2019 or no, 2020. 2020 I read it, the end of 2020, so over a year ago. And I was a bit nervous going back into it because you never know if your favorites are gonna stand and how they're gonna be. But like right from the first chapter, I just loved it. It's the sort of book that works for me. I love fast-paced books. So for me, I don't mind that the pacing is a bit quick, and for me it's more like, wow, there's so much that's happening in this book. So it feels like it could have easily been a 1,000-page book, but it's just 500 pages because there's so much that happens in it. And I love that because I feel that even though it's fast-paced, it doesn't, what's the word I'm searching for? I'm losing the words, but it's not that it like badly affects anything else. You don't really feel like you're getting too little of some things. I remember the first time I read the book, I also agreed about the academy part, that it felt like it was a bit rushed or a bit too little. But I think that's the thing with the book, that it's not really the magical academy trope, really. It's not what it is about. It's just the first setup, the introduction, and how Rin is introduced to everything else that will come. But yeah, so I'm gonna give this 5 stars again, because for me it's just everything I want in an epic fantasy. So for me it works.
That's amazing.
Yeah, very happy. And now I'm nervous about Jane.
Yeah, so I will go next. Okay.
who else is gonna go next?
Okay, so the thing is that I wasn't really in a mood when I was reading it, and I feel that it affected a lot how much I enjoyed the book, because unfortunately I'm a mood reader and it will affect what I'm reading, and I just couldn't really control it. Like, I'm not really in a fantasy mood lately, so I didn't really wanted to read fantasy. So I feel like this really affected my opinion on the book, and it's really affected. Like, that's why I still didn't give it a star rating, and I'm not sure if I will be giving it a star rating because of it. But overall, I feel like although I wasn't in the mood, I enjoyed the start, but from the second section, like from the middle of the book, like we are going to get to the spoilery section and we all will understand, but when everything changed, I feel like I didn't care anymore. Like the last half of the book, I already felt like I don't really care about what is happening. And like, there is a lot of reasons and we will talk about it. I just don't want to say a lot of spoilers, but I really enjoyed the start. And like, overall, I feel like it's a really, really good book. Like, the writing is amazing. The characters are really good. And because of it, I was so underwhelmed from the second half of the book, because the first half was really good, in my opinion. So that's why, like, I'm still not sure which star rating I'm going to give it, but like, overall, because of the second half, I didn't really enjoy it. Yes.
No, it makes sense.
It's hard for me, like, to be the only one here that didn't give it 5 stars. It was like a really 5-star prediction for me. I really hoped to love it. Yes, it's like very disappointment for me, but I really hope that I'm expecting this live to make me be more in a mood to read it, and hopefully in the second book everything will change.
Fingers crossed.
Hopefully.
I completely understand it, because like if you're not in the mood to read fantasy and like taking on this beast that is over 500 pages of like epic fantasy with a lot of world building and introductions, and also events inspired by history and some more difficult chapters and descriptions and such, I understand that it might not be the most exciting or enjoyable experience if you're not in that.
Yes,
Good
yes. I
idea.
also read another series while I was reading it that I loved. So it was hard for me because I read something that I loved and then I read it and I didn't feel the same way. So it just made me enjoy it less. But like again, although I wasn't in the mood, I still really enjoyed the first half, and I have a lot of problems, especially with the second half. So like I still feel like there is potential for me to really love the series because some parts I really, really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we, let's see. Hey, nice.
I love the way that
it was problematic.
Yes, no, I feel you, because I feel like this is the point of the book, that it's so hard and so hardcore, like in that way.
It's very morally gray, and it's more of a anti-hero story. That Rin and all the other characters, they're not just good or they're not just bad. And I feel like throughout the book as well, this is something that becomes more and more noticeable, that they're gonna make bad decisions and not always do the right thing and such. So it's very interesting in that way, I think.
It's refreshing to have a character that doesn't always make the right choices.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And they're also just put in situations when it's so difficult to make the right choice, because nothing really is the right choice most of the time. So
especially in war. Yeah,
definitely.
5 stars.
Nice. Amazing.
Cool. Amazing. I think it's first 5 for me too then. Yeah. Hey,
nice.
You can do it.
Good luck. Yeah, I get you.
Just in general with large books, if you aren't like captured right away and fully invested, it's hard to push through big books.
Yes, it's like I really wanted it to be 5 stars, but although I enjoyed the start, I still knew right away that it's not going to be 5 stars. Just didn't feel it. Again, it might be the mood, like that's what I'm thinking, but
and like you set yourself up to want it so bad to be 5 stars that it falls shorter because it's not meeting expectations.
Yes, that's the problem, I feel like, with expecting books, but also like I always feel bad when I'm expecting books, and because I expected it so much I didn't enjoy it, but I can't really control it. Like I will always expect books, and always some books will have higher expectations for me, so we don't have what to do about it except just accept it.
I also think
sorry.
I also think that sometimes it's the case with first books in series, that usually there's a lot of introduction to the characters and the world building. So for me, in many cases, it's actually been that I preferred the second or the third book in a series, because that's when I am attached to the characters and I understand the world now and I can feel more involved with the event. Just sometimes a book is just necessary to set things up, but they don't have that much time to actually explore things in it. So that's, I feel like, it's quite common with series.
Yeah, no, I agree. Usually, like the first one isn't like if it's going to be a 5 star at some point, it's never the first one. It's always like the second or the third book for me.
For me, it's always the opposite. Like the first one is the one that I'm most enjoying from, because I love the start. Like I love the world building and
I love
the story. Yes, like usually I really enjoy start of the series, and then I get more and more disappointment. And also like in this book, I really enjoyed the start and I really hated the second half of the book. So I feel like I enjoyed the world building part, and all of what happened, like in that sense.
Yeah. I actually have read this month 2 other first books in adult fantasies. I read Jade City
Jade City.
and also The Rage of Dragons, and both are like first in series. And those are 2 examples of books like I really enjoy them. I like what they are setting up, but I've only given them like 4 or 4.5 stars because it was not entirely there, but it was very close. And I feel that mainly was because there was a lot of introduction to the world, and I started to like the characters, but I never really got fully attached. But I'm convinced that's going to happen for the sequels once I read them. So I'm certain that the second and third book in those series will be 5 stars.
3.5. I thought you were falling back, like, oh, how dare they?
No. Sorry, I was.
Oh, I really agree with. Yes, I really agree with you, Bailey. Like, it's not that I'm okay with fast-paced books, and I wanted more from the beginning. But my problem was how it became from the beginning to the war, like what happened and how everything happened there, like those parts of how everything connected together. This really didn't work for me, so that's why, like, I will talk about it more when we'll get to the spoiler part. But yes,
I just love that people don't like war and they're reading the Poppy War.
Yeah, war. Yes, no, like I don't have a problem with books about war. It's just like the execution happens. Yes, like.
But I also think that's the thing, like with the description, that it sets it up to be this magical academy sort of story, and everyone loves that trope. And it's like, but it's not really that sort of story, though. And I know the first time I read it too, I was like, what? There's a war in it? And like, obviously there is, but for some reason I didn't think about it. But
I would like kill for a prequel, or not prequel, but like novel about the academy, maybe like some of the other characters.
It will be cool, yeah.
Magical Academy, man, like that's my bread and butter. I love it.
Yes, like I really get what you all saying about the Magical Academy. Like obviously I really enjoyed it, but I was really prepared for a war. Like I was really prepared for it. It wasn't disappointment that like obviously the academy was the part that I enjoyed the most, but I was okay that this part this part ended. I just wasn't okay with how the war started and how everything was. Like when the war started, something there didn't work for me, and I feel like I expected a war. Like that's okay. I understand that there is going to be a war, but I didn't love the way that the plot moved, like Rin plot, like what she was doing in the war. Yes, I didn't love it.
Yeah.
I think for me, I mean, I knew there was going to be a war, but I thought it was going to be like the end, like towards like much later on in the book.
You thought it was going to be like the cutscene to the next book kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of expecting. Because those first like 200 pages, like a lot. I think it's 200, 300 pages, like a lot, but really packed in there.
Yeah.
Oh
no.
Oh no, that's sad. I hope that they will get you back the books not damaged this time.
Yeah.
It's not fun to wait extra time. Yeah.
My boyfriend just got a package, and the guy literally threw the package in the snow outside the door instead of like putting it on the porch. Just threw it in the snow and took a picture of it because it was Amazon, because they have to like take pictures to prove that they delivered it. Just a picture of it sitting in the snow. Solid.
Okay, that's bad.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I think you know what.
Oh my gosh, it got pretty gory.
Yeah, it's chapter 21. I like the significant spots, like when the war starts and stuff. So yeah, I think it's chapter 21. That is like
today. This chapter.
Yeah, this is like the chapter.
No, yes.
everyone is
Yes, it
like,
was
you
really
can skip
gory.
it because it's so gory, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
I'm curious what everyone thought about the characters. Perhaps if there's a favorite character from the book or someone that you were really interested in or something like that. Because there's a lot of different characters and very interesting characters, in my opinion. So just what did you think about that?
I have a lot of thoughts about the characters, and I don't know how to say it without saying spoilers. I will wait to the
Okay.
spoiler part.
I don't know how to pronounce any of their names. So
I had
Okay.
the
my
audiobook,
best.
so it was really good having the audiobook because then I actually knew how to
Mhm.
pronounce things.
I should have looked it up beforehand, but like I really liked Kite.
Yeah, Kitai.
Kitai.
Kitai. Oh.
Kitai. Mhm.
Kitai, and I liked the brother Kaghan.
Ah, yeah.
Kahagan.
Kekesi.
Kisegi.
Yes,
The
Kisegi.
the
But we didn't
the twin
see?
brother that
Oh,
in the
Shagan.
Wow, I was way off.
Shagan.
Shagan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The seer.
The
Yeah.
seer, yes.
Mhm.
Him, and then I really liked the teacher, the Jiang.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
butchering these names, and then Ren, of course. So
Mhm.
there we go. I'm gonna stop before I butcher anymore.
Yes, I also like the character of the lore master. His
Yeah.
name. Yes. Mhm.
What about you, Lorena?
I really liked Ren, and I liked how she is morally grey. Like you never knew which way she was going to go with decisions.
Mhm.
I really enjoyed that. I liked is it Neja? Neja,
Neja.
Nessa.
Yeah.
Or
the school.
Neja. In the audiobook,
enemy?
they said Neja.
Like the
I
school
think.
enemy.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. I always think of it as Nessa. I don't know. Neja. Okay.
Yeah, I liked him. And
Mhm.
I liked the lore master as well.
Mhm.
And I thought was it Atlan?
Altan.
Altan, yeah. I thought
Altan.
he was really interesting as a
Mhm.
character. I thought he was really interesting.
Yeah. I think I agree with you. My favorites are Rin and Altan, but I just love those very gray and destroyed characters, I guess. And yeah.
Mhm.
I like the cinnamon roll characters that are just odd and weird and
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree. Like Kite and Rin is like my dream team. I adore them so much.
and Ramsa. I feel like Americans are very hard with our consonants, so I'm like enunciating the consonants when it should be like a soft, like Jiang or Ramsa, and it's like not that at all.
Yeah,
So,
that's okay. Like I'm so bad at pronouncing names, so I really get you.
Yeah.
oh, we got people saying their favorites. Too many characters, too many names. I barely.
I will get to it in the spoiler part because I really agree with you. Like at some point.
No.
Yes,
Neja.
I loved Neja. Like I really loved him
Neja.
more than Neja. I think I might be wrong, but I loved him more than Alten. I love Neja more.
I like Neja. Neja.
Neja.
Neja more than Alten. I will say
Yeah,
that.
me too.
Wow.
So, but only specifically in the second half.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yes.
The
Also
two of
for me,
them
like
have a
I
very interesting
started.
journey. Like
Yeah. Yes.
from academy and then to the war, like how their relationship goes. That's very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 I love Walton.
All the ones that finished reading the book, yeah. We all know, yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's a difficult
I feel like
character,
it
though.
was the opposite for me. Like in the start, I really was intrigued for him, and I was like really liked him. And like Megan said, at the second half of the book, I didn't like him very much, and I missed Neja more. But that's because I love enemies to lovers. So I feel like every boy character that is mean to the main character makes me like just my personal preference.
Yeah.
Should
we move to spoilers before we start accidentally spilling secrets?
Yes, I think that's the time.
So everyone, we're gonna go to the spoilers now. So if you're still reading or don't want to hear about spoilers, leave.
This is your warning.
Yes, exactly. Like out loud on the screen. Spoiler time.
Right. I'll throw up a comment just in case. Moving to spoilers now.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. We give a verbal and a visual warning. All right. Go.
What should we say? Jane, you had a lot of opinions about spoilers.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about why I didn't like the second part of the book and what really bothered me. I feel like the start was good, and then we got to the middle and the war started, and that's okay. Like, I understand that there is a war in the world, but I feel like all the first half of the book was about setting the characters and setting the story and getting explore the characters. And then in the second half of the book, 99% of the characters switched. Like, we almost didn't have the same characters from the beginning. And again, I get that that there is a war, and I get that a lot of people die. Like, I love that character die because it's more realistic. I really get it. But I feel like in the start of the book, so much was put into setting those characters. And in the second half of the book, all of the new characters, like, I don't care about any of them. I don't feel like nothing was really said about those characters. Like, we don't know a lot about them. And I feel like for me as the reader, I really love the characters from the beginning. And again, I get why all of them like died. I really get it. But as the reader, I feel like I was so invested about the characters. I wasted 200 pages about getting to know those characters. And when then the new characters were introduced, I don't feel like we wasted enough time on them to get to know them for me to care about them. Because I can say, like, now I don't care about any of the characters except Rin and like the lore master, but like all of the rest of the characters that we really got to know them just died. And again, I get why, but it just really makes me mad because I enjoyed the first part of the book, and I get that we don't have the academy anymore. Like, that's okay, but I just feel like also in the world part, also if characters are dying and we have new characters, I don't feel like those new characters really were introduced fully. Like, we don't really know them, not to the amount that we knew the characters from the first half. So it just made my experience with the second half so bitter, and it made me really not enjoy it because, like, I didn't care about any of the characters. So how could I enjoy the book?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I understand what you mean with that. That's actually a really good way of putting it, that it's very different from the first half and the second half with the characters and how well you know them. And also, like, with Academy, we watched Rin become friends with a lot of them. And in the second part, they're not really friends in the same way. Like, they're comrades, they work together, they fight together, but it's obviously not the same thing there either. So yeah, no, I get what you mean. Yeah.
I can see it for sure. I don't know. I do wish we had gotten more background on is it like Kike? Is that how you pronounce it?
Psych. Yes, I really don't care about the plot like anymore. Since we got to the Psych, I feel like just everything for me like became unenjoyable.
Yeah, I love the trope of like misfits. So it worked for me because it was like a band of misfits, and it was only like, what was it? They were only a squadron of 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
But I don't remember who all of them were, and I felt like they would say a name and I'm like, wait, what's their power again, or who's their god again? So I definitely see the like we're getting a whole new cast of characters that we haven't even explored. So why did I just read about these for the past 200? So I totally see where you're coming from.
I think it's part of the journey, though, that we have been getting to know these characters. And then once the war starts and everyone gets involved, even the students, and they are off to their different divisions and to their different battles and such. And slowly but surely, everyone gets killed off. It's, I think it's mainly with the purpose of, I guess, messing with Rin and making her become who she's gonna be. And that's like one of the triggers and motivations, and also to show the consequences of war with all of these characters that you got to know and enjoy and love. And then
Yes, no, I really get it, and I really appreciate that the author isn't afraid like to kill characters. I really get that, especially because it's a war, so it's really, really logical that characters will die. I don't know what will happen in the rest of the trilogy, but I guess that a lot of really bad things will happen, but it still doesn't help me to care about the story, because I feel like it's okay that everyone died. Also, if the whole cast of characters got replaced, which is understandable for those situations, I still feel like the author didn't make me care about the new characters. And like I understand that it's really fast paced and we're in the middle of the war. She can't really get to know the characters, but I felt like because that wasn't really good, like something didn't work there. Because of it, I just couldn't keep enjoying the book, because I really enjoyed it in the beginning.
Yeah.
I think we'll get more. I just have a feeling we'll get more of these characters in the Dragon Republic. Obviously, I haven't read it yet. But with the way the last one or this one ended, it feels like we're going to be seeing a lot more of these characters and hopefully get more of their backstories and how they
I hope
came to be. And yeah,
that's what I feel like hopefully is going to happen, is that we're going to get to know them all like much better and kind of build in their characters, because it has like changed like a lot, like the shift of the characters. So yeah, I'm hoping we get to know more of them. Yeah. I get it, Jane. I get your point.
At least they're setting it up with her becoming the new commander of the Psyche that will stay in the Psyche at least for a while.
Yeah, so like that's why I'm a little bit afraid of the rest, but like I hope it will be good.
Yeah, this makes sense. I agree with this actually.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What did we think of, or like we talked a tad bit about Alton before in the non-spoilery part, but obviously there's something major that happens at the end of the book, right? Yeah.
Really major, yes.
How did we feel about this?
What do you think about it, Charlotte? Maybe it seems like maybe you have more of an opinion because you already read it for the second time.
Yeah, I had I think the first time I was very much in denial. I didn't realize what had happened. I think I was like, yeah, he's gonna show up later on. I tricked myself. But one thing I just thought about now when I read it is I think it's very interesting how throughout the book Alton's character is sort of just like broken down, and especially like Rin's relationship to Alton as well, because the thing is she idolized him at the academy. He was this big amazing fighter and so cool and all of that, and especially in the last like 100 pages he just gets broken down. And first of all, we realize that Rin sort of doesn't know him, even though they are very close and they work together and they are similar because they both have they both are from Spear and such like that. But I don't know, it's just sort of sad in a way that he's not this big, fantastic, amazing person. He has his weaknesses and similar, especially with all the opium addiction and everything he went through when he was captured and stuff. So yeah, I just think that part is really interesting and just sad and also like different, I guess.
Yeah, Yeah, I did kind of like that you did get it kind of broken down, and it kind of showed you that somebody might appear to be like this really great like hero type person, but actually you don't know what's going on behind the scene and what they're actually like. So I quite liked that we kind of got that switch and actually got to know him as well. And that you mentioned about Spear, like I really hope in like the next books we find out more about like Rin's backstory, because I feel like we know nothing about it. Just we find out
She
obviously-
also doesn't know really anything about her
Yeah.
backstory, so it's understandable.
That's the thing. She's a war orphan. They explained it in the beginning that once the war was finished, the government just told families that you need to bring in a child, a war orphan, and so that's why she doesn't know anything, because she was so young, I guess, when that happened.
Yeah.
I just find it
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I find it interesting because Alton, obviously, they knew he was Spearley, and they thought he was the last one. So it's like, what happened that Rin managed to be like snuck through something that no one knew their existence?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
I feel like I don't know if I've read too many fantasies or not, but I predicted a lot of the like twists before they happened. And maybe I'm completely wrong still, and I was just reading what I wanted to read, like confirmation bias and stuff. But I do think that Neja is alive. One, because it's following the philosophy of you didn't see a body, so
yes,
that's
yes,
like
I feel like
that's a common thing in like TV and books. If you don't see the dead body, they're probably still there and they're gonna come back somehow. And I do think that he's a shaman. I do think he has like the power to heal himself or do something that allowed like the paralyzation to not happen. And I actually like predicted that when we found out he might be paralyzed. I was like, I think there's something going on there. I don't know if he's a shaman.
Yes, I actually agree with you. Like, I
connected.
didn't thought about if he actually died or not, but I do feel like there is a big chance that he's still alive, especially because I do feel like there is going to be some kind of love interest in the book. Like, it's not a romance book, but I do feel like there is going to be a little bit of romance, and I don't think that Alten is going to come back. So I do think that if something is going to happen in the romance, it's going to be with Neja.
Yeah, it just said he was drug away. It didn't say like she saw him die. It just said he was drug away. So I think he's being like held as some sort of prisoner. Or
yes, like I was so surprised when he died. Like, what? How it happened? Like, is he actually dead or not? So
yeah. I think he's still alive as well. And it's when it
Charlotte is sitting here knows.
Can't say anything.
I wanted to say though that Megan, your suspicion about him being a shaman as well, it's actually just something in the book that Enki, the what's the word? The physician of the psych.
Yeah.
There's a moment where she actually asks Rin, like, or he asks Rin, you didn't tell me that the dragon warlord Sprat was a shaman. And Rin is just like, what are you talking about? So I also remember when I read the book the first time as well, I was like, well, he's not just human.
Yeah.
Because of those hints.
And I don't know if it was a like actual thing or if it was just a saying from, is it Tiersen, the like one that was the head of Spear, and she decided to I think that Rin is her daughter or somehow associated with her.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There was something.
She said daughter of mine.
Yeah, but
yes, she said it.
I don't know if it's like just a saying.
Yeah, like the daughter of mine. But I thought
like,
that she might be the mother of Rin until she said daughter of mine. And then I just like stopped and I said, okay, maybe not, because why would she say that? Like, maybe it's just the saying.
But isn't the story or the myth with that queen, isn't that like hundreds of years ago? Like with the red?
I don't know. I feel like we didn't really delve into the
It
history.
in some way, but not mother-daughter no, I don't think that. Mainly because of the time.
Associated somehow.
Possibly, yeah. Makes sense though.
No, I also thought about it until she said daughter of mine, but I also like had a feeling that she might be the mother of Rin until she said it, and then
Maybe
it just
not
fell
like
to me.
daughter, but like I think Ren was set up to be like the head of Spear somehow. If that makes sense, like the leader
Yeah.
of Spear.
Huh. Maybe because of it she was saved because she was special. Maybe she was like I don't know, the princess of Spear. I'm not sure like how it worked there because we don't really know. But she might be like that's a good idea that she might be someone really really important in Spear. So she was one of the only ones who survived.
And that's why like the Phoenix was really interested in her. And I feel like this whole book, people have been like, Alton's broken, but she's still okay. Or like she is the one. I feel like she's some sort of chosen one somehow.
Yes, it was really the chosen one trope. I felt in, like a lot of situations. Yeah.
But it's definitely until the end, because like all the way until the end, when she goes to the Spear Island, to the temple, and meets the Phoenix, that's basically when she makes a decision to like, okay, I'm gonna surrender to this god and become something else. Because that's, as you were saying, everyone was like, oh, she's pure, she can still turn around, she doesn't need the gods. But in that like final chapter, when she goes to the island, that's when Rin makes a decision to be like, no, I'm gonna burn it all down, I'm gonna take all the consequences, and so on, which is also really interesting because it's her entire character as well. Like at first she is quite afraid and scared in the beginning of the book, and she's afraid to go to the academy, and she's so young. I think the book starts when she's like 16.
Yes,
and then,
she went to the academy when she was 16.
Yeah, and then she's at the academy for like 2 years. Yeah, I think it's during the second or third year that the war breaks out, and then she's with the psych for possibly 1 year. So the book does span over like 3 years, I think.
Yes, it was even more
because has a
like,
journey.
Technically, in the beginning, they told us about the 2 years that she was preparing for the Kecho test. So, like, technically, it was since she was 14. But yes, I'm actually really, really interested about what Naomi wrote, like the last comment, because it's a really, really interesting topic to discuss.
This one?
About taking away of fertility, and because yes, so I really loved that part, especially because it really made me, like in the beginning of the story, understand how wow this whole situation is, and how actually like really deep this whole thing goes. So I feel like those parts really made me enjoy the first part of the book. Like it really made me go, wow, that's amazing. Like not really amazing, like that's amazing that we even talked about this subject, because I didn't see it anywhere in any other fantasy book. And I'm really, really interested that, like we talked about, that maybe Rin is someone really important from Spear. So I'm thinking now that maybe she might be like the ruler of Spear or something like this, and now she can't have like her like to continue her legacy. So that's really interesting. Like I think that maybe not only that it was a really hard situation to be in, I think that maybe the author chose to make it because it will make more problems in the future that we are not even aware of yet. Like, just thought about it now.
Yeah, I love it because it shows that women can be more than just a womb, and not every woman wants to have children, and other like women have other priorities. And I loved that conversation because it allowed her to be more than that, her to be more than a production center for future Spear and that kind of stuff. So
that's quite early on also, when at first when she's about to be married off to this old man, we already know there that she's not, I don't want to have kids, I don't want anything to do with this man. And it goes very much with her character to make that choice to remove her possibility to have kids, basically, because it's her period is a hindrance for her. She spent the entire day in bed, not going to classes, and we know how important all of those classes were to keep up. And when she realized that she has to go through that every month, she was like, I still don't want to have kids, so it's not something that I care about, and I need to make sure that I have the same possibilities as everyone else and can keep up with my mates. So I think it makes sense that she had to, or I think it made sense that she made that decision. But I agree that the first time I read it, it was like, oh, that's a bit extreme, but it does make complete sense for her in many ways.
No, I think it does make sense for her character. But also kind of shows you that like the school, they're not very helpful to like the girl students, because I think it's mentioned there's not that many of them, and like the girls always seem to drop out. So she's kind of had to take it like make a decision that she'll be able to stay and like compete with the men and like, you know, get to the same level, because the school just doesn't, they don't do anything to help them, basically. But yeah, I think what you said is right. She never wanted to have kids in the first place, so I suppose it wasn't really a drastic decision for her.
I think it's also a way for her to protect herself, because the reason why she was supposed to be married off was to have that old man's kids. But now, if she can't have kids, she can never be put in that situation again, whether or not she will be a part of the military. She will never be someone that will be married off just to produce kids, because she can't. And I think she prefers that in many ways. Although I do love the part when like she's talking with the psych, and I think Rams or someone is like, oh, so are you and Alta now gonna have a lot of spirit kids? And like, no, I can't. Like, damn it, I want those spirit but I think it was also a good point regarding like the injustice, like for the girls, but also Rin herself in a very unfair and unjust situation, with her being from the southern parts of the country and being like a peasant or someone who's not from the city and all. So there's a lot of injustice and just unfairness against her throughout the entirety of the book, and especially at the academy, I feel like.
Yes, the academy was really unfair. Also to girls, also to Rin, because she was a peasant. Like, the academy was really unfair. Like, an actual teacher, like an actual master, kicked her off the classes, and they just say to her, if you don't learn it alone, and she could hurt herself by learning it alone. If you don't learn it, you won't get like to the second year, but she can't do anything, because like the whole academy was really unfair. But I feel that this just made us love it even more. Like, made this whole section of the book even more interesting, of how Rin is dealing with this unfairness.
Yeah, and the entire part about the Kedja as well. I think she says it herself that the Kedja is just a ruse to make peasants and people from the south believe they can make it, when it's actually set up so that she shouldn't make it. And that's also something that happened in the second chapter, that she made it. She did the test and she did extremely well, but no one believed her. Everyone thought that she had cheated on the test.
Yeah.
Because like you shouldn't be able to do this. You shouldn't be able to do so well on this exam.
Yeah.
The entire world is against her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are our thoughts on the Empress? Do we think she's good, bad?
I'm not sure. Like, I feel that it's still early to say if she's good or bad, because especially there isn't good or bad in this book. Like, not black
Do we
and
think
white,
she's on Rin's side or somebody else's side?
I'm not sure, but I feel that she will definitely take Rin to her advantage. Like, I don't feel that she actually cares about Rin or anyone else. She will she controlled Rin in her eyes. So it's like she controls everyone around her. So I feel like just a character and a personality of character like this won't really care about other characters. So I don't feel like we can really trust her. Like, I don't feel that Rin should trust her. Like, at least from what we saw so far.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but I think the interesting thing is she's one of the three, isn't she? That's what.
Yeah.
Viper.
Mhm. The Vepers.
The Viper, yeah, and then we have the
Yeah.
Gatekeeper, but then the third one, which I can't remember now.
Red Emperor, or is it the Dragon Emperor?
No, it was
What's
the
Dragon Lord. I don't know.
Because the third one, I don't
Gatekeeper.
know what that is. So I still think
Viper's Gatekeeper and
I did know that Jiang was the gatekeeper. I picked up on that very early.
Yes, me too.
the
Me
Warrior.
too. It was
Warrior.
really predictable. Warrior.
Wow,
yes.
I was way off.
Mhm. Mhm.
like, we don't know who the third one is. So I think it's going to be interesting because like we already like the gatekeeper's kind of gone because he's like locked himself away. So we're kind of there's an imbalance now, which I think is why things are happening. But it's going to be interesting to find out who the third one is, like the warrior.
So I feel like in the legend that was told, like I'm pretty sure that the fourth one was supposed to be dead. Like I feel like the what his name? Like it was the Vipers, the gatekeeper, and who is the fourth one?
The Warrior.
We don't remember. The warrior. So like maybe I'm not remembering right, but I remember that the warrior is dead. The Vipress is like the Empress, and the gatekeeper gone missing. So like I feel that the book told us that the warrior was supposed to be dead.
I don't remember, to be honest.
I can't remember either. So it's kind of like I don't know if there's like whoever the warrior is going to come back, and it's going to be like more war or but I don't fully trust the Empress anyway because she's definitely playing things to her advantage. She's trying to like save her own skin rather than her people or anyone else.
I also think that's something you have to keep in mind because there's a lot of back and forth, I feel like, throughout the book regarding who's the enemy. For example, the massacre of the Speary Island, when it's like everyone tells a different story of what really happened and why they did things and like who decided to burn it. Well, it was the Federation. No, it was the Empire. No, it was this. So there's a lot of back and forth and a lot of just it's the winner that gets to tell the story and decide the history, but usually it might not be the true history of things. So that's definitely a thing that keeps you on your toes with this book as well. You don't really know who the enemy is in many ways.
Yeah.
There was a quote I like took a picture of because I was like, wow, power dictates acceptability. And I was like,
yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yep.
A lot of good quotes.
That's it.
Definitely.
That's the one. So yeah, when you said like the winners write the history, I was like, oh, there's one. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I really loved that book for that reason as well, because it like had such powerful narratives in it beyond just like a fantasy story.
Yeah. And I think it's so interesting, but because you can really tell that there's a lot that is drawn from like true events and Chinese history and so on. I tried to keep up with that as well when I read, but I think Red Emperor is a great parallel to China's first emperor, because in the beginning it says that it was the Red Emperor that standardized the measurement system and the writing and the language. And I know it was the same way with China's first emperor. And then also, I think there are a lot of, I'm not the best, so I don't really know all of the history, but I've seen a lot of comparisons between Rin to like Mao Zedong and different characters. And there's just a lot that is actually drawn from true events. And I think
Yes, actually, like Yes, like I just wanted to say that I read some reviews like after I finished reading the book, and it's actually based like on the China history. Like it's actually some events are one-on-one the events of like the real life and real history. Yeah, so it's actually like I didn't know it, but like a lot of it is actually taken from real events. Like I feel that a lot of the plot was part of it.
Exactly. And I think chapter 21, which is the very difficult chapter about what happened with that town, what's it called? Gorini, something along those lines. But that is also a direct parallel to a massacre of another town if I remember correctly. So it definitely shows the true consequences that have happened when there has been war and there has been
Yeah.
fights between nations and such. And
the
I feel
part
like
with the girls really got me.
sorry.
The part with the
Yes, it
girls
was,
really got me.
Yeah.
It was a really hard chapter, like in general. Yes, it was a hard part, definitely. Also, like I already didn't care really about the story in that part, but I was like, that's hard.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's hardcore. I get why this book is so dark, like why everyone says it's so dark, because of this chapter, like it was the darkest thing. Yes, actually, like I have an interesting question that I'm really, really interested to see what you're thinking about her choice, but about Rin choice, like to kill a whole island. Like, what do you think about the choice that you made? Because it's like it's a big thing, like major.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah. No, she's definitely in this I don't know, inner dilemma. Like she does what she feels she needs to do, but obviously, as we can tell in the chapter after, she's gonna have some guilt about this. Like I think I highlighted a part where it's basically, I have become something wonderful, I have become something terrible. Was she now a goddess or a monster? Perhaps neither, perhaps both. And when she talks to like Kara, and it's like, what did I do? What did I just do? Because she can't really believe what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. And
Yes.
Kitei is so disappointed as well. Like, you're just the same as the Federation now.
Yes, Kitei
And
was so disappointment. Yes.
Yeah, I feel like she just kind of took on like everyone's anger and hate. It's almost like it wasn't fully her decision. She like just kind of had taken in like all of Spearley, like all this other like influences, and it wasn't fully her decision. She was acting on behalf of other people. Yeah, so I
Yes.
it felt like it wasn't fully her decision, you know.
Definitely.
Yes, actually, Chloe, I really agree with you, because I also felt like everything that I still can pronounce his name, like the Lore Master, everything that he said and all what he said, like about you're going to go mad if you will go in that way, it will just make you go mad. So I actually felt like everything came true, like everything that he said and everything that he was like trying to save her from. So I feel like just everything got to her, and she had this power. So obviously, like it's a big it's a big subject, but this book really explores it well. That if someone has power, also if he's a good person, he's still gonna make really bad choices just because this person has this power. So also if Rin was like the most good person in this world, she could always feel that like she has the power to stop the suffering of her country. So also if it will actually make other people die and make other people worse, it will save her people. So yes, it's like a really hard situation to be in.
I also think, like you mentioning Jiang and how he was right, and and Rin was so back and forth regarding whether she should trust Jiang, her master, or not. And especially when they went to the mountain, she and Alton, they went to the mountain to see all of the gods. And at first she met Jiang and was like, no, he's completely off. He never wanted me to feel this power. He wanted to restrict me from it. I don't support this. And then just like a couple of pages later, she's like, oh no, damn, Jiang was right. He predicted this. He knew that everyone goes mad. So it's a lot of like back and forth all the time, because no one really knows what's right or what's wrong in this situation either.
So when they were both like shot with the heroin in the lab, and they went into that like spiritual realm, did she bring back those like voices and those people with her? Because it sounded like she took them over for Alton.
Yeah, I think that's where she found all that anger and that need for vengeance that she then used at
I think she had it before, but that just fueled it even more.
Definitely.
Yes, her character like from the beginning was really like getting angry easily and like deciding to do some things irrationally. So it's understandable that her character did it because of her personality. Yes. I feel like she's going to have a really hard time to accept what she did after she will get
Yeah.
it and actually understand how many lives she killed. Like I feel that for her, I really see her going mad if she didn't gone mad until now.
It's kind of what Belgian book nerd was saying. Can't wait to see how she'll
Mhm.
cope with the aftermath. Yeah.
Yes. Mhm.
It's going to be interesting because it was just at the end, so we've not actually seen how she's
I'm so
gonna.
curious where it's gonna go from here. Like what the plot or like what the overarching storyline of the next book is gonna be. Is it just
What
gonna
are
be
some
her
of your
hunting down?
What do you think will happen in the sequel? Do you have any predictions or ideas?
I think she'll be hunting down Fenrin,
Yeah,
the one that
Fenrin.
escaped from
Yeah.
the or going towards the Empress, one of the two.
Mhm.
I think she'll probably go after both of them because it's kind of like she needs to kind of deal with both of them. Like,
I didn't know if one would be Dragon Republic and one would be Burning God or not, or what. I don't know. But the fast-pacedness of the series so far, I guess they could definitely both be in like the first 200 pages. So
What can happen?
that's like the beauty of fast-paced because you might be able to predict things, but there's going to be so much more that you never even saw coming because there's just so much to pack in.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
like
have
this book
no
had so
idea.
much. Like
Yeah.
it's one book and it had so much. Like you could write a whole book only on the first part, and a
Yeah.
whole book only on the second part, and a whole book only on the fourth part. So yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, I really agree with Chloe about Rin has become exactly what Nikara demented, that she will be ruthless, driven to the point of self-destruction, and willing to absolutely whatever it takes to ensure victory. And I really, really agree with you. Like she definitely became it, and I feel like Jiang, like
Yeah.
the lore master Jiang, he tried to save her from being that. So that's why I really felt like he was right and she gone mad because she just everything that he was afraid from and tried to save her from actually happened.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Another big part. Yeah, sorry. Continue.
As I say, it's going to be really interesting to see where it's going to go from here. Because yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
No, there's a lot. It's interesting, definitely, and it's definitely sets up the story for something. I feel like final chapter or so.
Yeah.
I wanted to say that another huge part of the book is the entire poppy seeds, opium sort of thing.
Yeah.
The
Yes,
drugs.
it was so
Actually,
cool.
what did you think of all of that and the use of drugs? Because this is also a parallel to history with opium wars. But in general, like all of the mentioning of drugs and how they used it and didn't use it. What did you think of all of that?
I really loved that we saw it in a book because I feel like a lot of books aren't talking really about the subject of drugs in general. And we saw like, I really, really loved this part, especially because we saw how the characters, like those who actually took it for a long time, how they were really needed it. Like they couldn't go already without it. And I really loved how this connected to the actually fantasy part, like that you have to take those drugs to get to this to talk with the gods, but you don't have to do it if you want to do it like in you, like how Jiang teach Rin, but I really, really loved it. Like I feel that this is one of the parts that made it also more realistic because like I just feel like this whole book really talked about subjects that usually aren't talked in other books, like about Rin deciding not to have children anymore, which is a big part, and also about all the drugs. So I really, really loved it. Like I feel that this whole part was handled really, really well in the plot. Like really was actually fitting. Like I really loved it.
Cool. Yeah.
Naomi likes how they incorporated the addiction part.
Yeah.
I think I found it interesting that Rin ended up like falling into that cycle after seeing so many people when she was younger before the academy. I found it interesting because she was always very, very against it.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I agree. That's really interesting how it turns around, because she was super against it, and then they sort of show that, well, if you just take these poppy seeds, and I think also the physician had like, oh, it's based on how much you weigh and you don't need that much, and so they had very careful measurements for how much they need just to help them reach the pantheon and reach the gods. But then we had also different ways of getting the opium into your system. We had the nuggets, we had the smoke, we had heroin, all of that.
I feel like it was really interesting because she had a history like with her family, like who raised her, and I feel like maybe her character when she got to the academy and when she learned that those seeds can help her reach to the gods, maybe she saw this like drugs topics and she realized that it's not dark and white, and it has also some good in it and some things that can help her. So I feel like maybe this is what happened with her, like how she changed her opinion drastically.
Yeah, but she's also so disappointed in Alton when she realized that he smokes from the pipe to relax. She's like, that's pathetic. Why does he do that?
Yeah.
But that's before she learns how he basically was an experiment and how they forced him to take drugs, and that it's sort of his way to escape from all of the pain. And
I think it really showed like how easy it is to fall into that addiction.
Yeah. True as well. Good point.
And
no, I thought it was really interesting to have it in the book and how her opinion changed. Also, I suppose it was for her to like then attain this power. She knew that she had to kind of go down that route. But it's going to be interesting to see how much she's going to keep using the poppy seeds and things.
I do think she's going to get addicted in the rest of the series. Like, it's one of the things that I predicting that will be.
Because I feel like there's not, because a lot of characters die, there's not as many people around. So I feel like there isn't as much like people like above her that could control in that way, because now she's at the top basically. So there isn't anyone there like to stop her, like unless Jan comes back and is like her moral kind of compass, but she doesn't have that at the moment. So I feel like she could definitely go too far, become addicted.
Yeah,
for sure.
I see that Chloe writes that she hopes that the next book won't be too long. I'm sorry, but it's 600 pages.
Yes, it's actually going to be longer, which I'm afraid of. Like, I enjoyed the first part of the book, but the second part I read, like I started already listening to the audiobook and reading at the same time. And then I got to the situation when I read the book in 3.5 speed because I just wanted it to be over. So like I just read it so quickly. I feel I read the whole part of the book in an hour and like in an hour and a little today. So yes.
Yeah, the Millennium Legends comment, that's my boyfriend. He saw me power read the entire thing almost yesterday.
Wow.
I read like part 2 on yesterday. So
we love a supportive partner. That is good.
Yeah. Yes, I feel like always like in the day of the live show and in the day before that, everyone will remember I need to finish that book and to read all of it.
But it's like I don't want to read it too far ahead and then forget everything. So right now it's all fresh in my head. So it was stressful, but I feel like prepared for this as well.
Yeah.
I had planned to read it earlier, but then it's just like it didn't happen or things got in the way, and I'm like, damn, I don't have many days to finish it now. So that's what was.
Writing style, really? I found it very simple.
I think it's very to the point. Like it's not flowery, it's not lyrical, it's not a lot of descriptions. Like you know what you need to know, and that's it. At least that's the way I is
No,
it?
that's how I read it too. But I'm interested what made it difficult, the writing style, because maybe some people don't like to the point, so it
True.
just takes a second to.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever be as hard as trying to read Nevernight by Jay Kristoff and like getting into that with like the footnotes. and
Right.
stuff. Oh,
Haven't tried it.
Yeah, me neither. Why? Like, what is the reason it's so hard?
oh, there's just like it's told sort of from the point of view of a narrator in a sense, and there's footnotes, and it's very dense to me, at least.
Sounds like something that I won't enjoy.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it once it got, because it has Academy in it, so of course I did.
Yeah, I think it's a Naomi thing then.
Yes. No, I enjoyed the writing. Like, I feel it wasn't a 5-star writing for me. It wasn't like a writing that will make me go wow. But I feel like I understand why some people will go wow about this writing, because there were some really beautiful prose and some really beautiful, like, deep things and thoughts. So I really get, like, I feel that there is a lot of really good quotes here. I just didn't really, like, I read it and I said to myself, oh, that's a good quote, but I didn't feel it. So that's why, like, especially in the second half, because if like the first half will continue and will be like, I would really enjoy the book, but yes, the second half wasn't for me. So I really hope that the second book will feel more like the first half, not only about the Academy, but just all the feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Anything else?
Yes, I feel like we already discussed a lot. So I'm not sure, like, anyone has any last thoughts, maybe any last predictions before we will wrap and everything. Like, anything final you want to say before we will get to the Dragon Republic?
I mean, I probably have a lot because I tabbed a lot, but nothing I can think of.
How it was annotating the book, because like it's your first time annotating the popular.
Yeah, it was. It was interesting. I think I struggled with deciding on what to annotate, because there was so much I wanted to annotate, but I also wanted to read it efficiently. I didn't want it to slow me down. So I tried to keep track of like moments I enjoyed, world building, and historical connections to like real events, and also I think mainly those things. And then I just sometimes highlighted just random parts in the book or underlined because I just liked a quote or something like that.
I always love rereading and annotating just to see, like, once you've read the entire series, to see where the like foreshadowing is that you didn't pick up on the first time at all. And that kind of stuff. I know, Jane, you don't reread, but
yeah, there's a lot of foreshadowing, I realized. And just like, even in this book, just like from the start of the book until the end of what's going to happen, but also the entire series in general, I feel has a lot of foreshadowing. So that's interesting. And I also enjoy like marking. So I basically mark where the Academy part stops, and when she learns about having her powers, and when the war starts, and all of that, just to see sort of a timeline as well of, so I can see that, oh, the Academy part is 190 pages long. Oh, at page 250 the war starts and stuff like that. So that was fun to keep track of. Yeah, don't think I have anything to add other than that. Oh, we have a question from Naomi.
Things you really want to pick.
I want Neja to be found, and I want enemies to lovers.
Same. Yes, I wish that there would be more romance, but I'm also saying it from someone who was really not in a romance, not in a fantasy mood, and really in a romance mode. Like, the only thing that I read now is romances, so obviously I want romance in the book, but like, I wish that we will see some romance, because I do think it will be interesting. Like, I'm not expecting any big romance, but I do feel like a little bit of a romance plot will be interesting, especially with Naja, because I loved him.
Yeah, I have his feelings alive, so I want to see him. Hopefully, in the second one, he comes back and obviously what happened, because then he was taken by the other side. So it'd be interesting to see
Or
what.
maybe someone else, because every 200 pages, the whole cast of characters just switch.
It could have been, yeah, it could be completely someone else, but it'd be interesting to see what happened whilst he was away and everything else was going on. And yeah, it'll be interesting if something happens between him and Rin. Yeah, but I hope Nedra comes back. And then also that we find out more about Rin's backstory, about like, you know, the Spiritly situation, like what happened. I still don't think we'll get the full story in the second one, because I feel like at least part of it will be left for like the final conclusion. But I hope we get like a little bit more about that.
I would love just like more backstory about all the characters in general. But also, I don't know if I
feel connected.
Yeah. I don't know if I necessarily want it to happen, but I think it would be really interesting if like more of the gods broke out of the mountain.
Yeah.
I think that would be chaos and fun to read about. Like the Fenrir or someone goes back in and
yes, I do
the
expect
Empress
maybe not in the second. Yes, I do expect maybe not in the second book, maybe in the final one, but I do expect the gods to just, I don't know, come to the moral world and something will happen and all the gods will be in the world or something. And actually, like Chloe wrote something interesting, or there is no romance in the book, just fantasy YA. And I wanted to talk about
YA.
it because it's an adult fantasy. And like it's an adult fantasy because all the content. But I do feel like Rin character, like it's adult because the content, because it's a very heavily book with a lot of trigger warnings. But I do feel like Rin character wasn't really mature. I do feel like she was really young at some places, and her character specifically really felt to me like a typical YA character. Also, like again, I really loved her in the beginning. Also, Rin, I started to dislike her more and more in the second part of the book because I felt like she was more childish and more like so like the all fantasy, like the whole trilogy is an adult fantasy trilogy, but I do feel like her character was a little bit of a YA character. Maybe it will change because yes, maybe she will be like 40 in the next book. I don't know, like it's a very fast-paced book, so I'm not sure. But yes, like I felt a little bit of a YA character in her character at a lot of points.
Well, yeah, I think it's important to remember that they are young. As we said, she starts the academy at 16, and she is like 20 or 21 by the end of the book, 20, I think, or maybe 19, somewhere along there. And also there's a part about Alton as well. Like he's also quite young, and he's suddenly this commander. And then there's a part when Rin walks in on him sleeping, and she says like he looks so much young. You easily forget that they are so much younger than they appear to be because it's a war and they need to be able to fight and to kill and all of that. But all of them, like Kitei and everyone, is still so young and just so messy and making a lot of mistakes and stuff like that.
Yeah, which is like it makes sense, especially with the all choices that Rin made, because how like a 19 years old teenager, because it's still a teenager, needs to decide if to kill a whole island. Like I just yes, I predict that it will be really hard for her in the next books. It's really interesting, like to see her getting more mature. I really hope that she will, like obviously she will, but I'm really interested to see her character development in the rest of the series.
Yeah,
cool, nice. So are we excited about getting to the second book or not?
Yeah.
Yes. I am. I'm really excited. It's also like
I'm afraid. It's long, like I'm really afraid because it was really hard for me to get through this one.
I see. But I know that when I read the second book, I was like, I don't want it to end. I don't want it to end. I want to read this.
I wish, like I felt
like
this in the first part, like in the first part, but just the second half of the book just made everything really not work for me. So I hope it will change.
Yes, Naomi,
yes,
I read
Charlotte.
I know how it ends. But it's so fun to read it from the beginning, first to see if it holds up, but also just to realize all of the foreshadowing and just remember all of the things I enjoyed with the story. So that's why I'm quiet sometimes, or like when these ladies are talking, I'm just sitting here like, I don't know what to say.
I'm so happy that you still enjoyed it so much, like that it's still 5 stars
Yeah.
after all those years. It's like really amazing.
Yeah, I'm glad about that. It made me happy to like return to this. Like it's an awful world. There's a lot of bad
No,
things.
but I get, yeah.
I'm happy to be back. Nevertheless.
Yeah.
Yeah. And definitely, Naomi, just reach out if you want to discuss things. It's fine. Cool. Anything else to add?
I feel like we talked already so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
what
feel
else
like we
to
can
add.
talk about this forever.
Yeah. We had some great discussions though, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're gonna read the Dragon Republic in February. And I think we sort of decided on the dates for the live shows, right?
Yes, more or less. Like we'll announce it on Twitter, but we will say it also now. Charlotte, you have the dates written?
Yeah, I think the current plan is that the first reading sprint session, just where we read whatever we want, will actually be already next week, right? On Sunday, on February 6th, we said. Unfortunately, I don't think Megan will join us for that one.
I'll try if we're not going skiing, depending on weather. But I think we're going skiing that day. So
Oh, that's fun.
That's good.
So it's like in a week from now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In 1 week, we will just have sprints. You can read whatever you want. Just join for that. We don't know the channel yet, but just either subscribe and keep notifications, or go on the Twitter and something, and you will know on whose channel it will be. And the discussion for the Dragon Republic will be on March the 6th.
Yes, like a month and a week. We're giving you a week more because the book is like really, really long. So not a month, a little bit more.
Exactly. The book is long and the month is short.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I think that's it, what we have decided so far. Once again, we will get back with whose channel and all of that, but it's all been planned at least. So obviously we're continuing with the series, and we hope that everyone will continue reading with us as well.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was so fun to discuss it with you all.
Thank you for the extra week. Yep.
Yes, definitely need it.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.